everyone. I'm about to begin the morning bell chant, which you can find on page 3 if you want to follow along. We just chant together once it says homage to Amitabha Buddha. And just so you know, this is not a worship. We're not worshiping the Buddha. It's just venerating the Buddha for anyone who it's their first time chanting it. And after the chant, we will observe noble silence. Yes. Vowing that the sound of this bell pervades the universal Dharma realm, bringing luminous white light to the black iron perimeter of hell, removing in an instant the suffering caused by the 3 evil ways. A mountain of swords is destroyed, and all sentient beings enter enlightenment together. Homage to the master teacher, Vairocana Buddha, compassionate Lord of the lotus-born universe. Expounding the treasured verses of the sacred golden texts contained within precious cases, written on jade scrolls. Each dust mote interpenetrates, and the universe becomes one. Every realm is united with all other worlds. The truth is contained in the 1,095,048 words of the vehicle's utmost consummate teaching. Homage to the Avitamsaka Sutra, expounded by the Buddha. To understand the Buddhas of endless time, just penetrate this phrase. Everything is created by mind alone. The mantra of shattering hell. Namu Ata Shijinam, Samyak Samotajichinam. Om Abana Baba Siri Jiri Hum. Namo Atashijinam Samyak Samotajichinam. Om Baba Jiri Jiri Hum. Namo Atashijinam Samyak Samotajichinam. Om Baba Jiri Jiri Hum. Vowing now for the rest of my life not to give rise to extraneous thoughts, following only Amitabha Buddha. Thought after thought will constantly merge with the rays of his jade-like brilliance, each instant never leaving the qualities of his golden form. Holding a mala and bearing witness to the universal Dharma realm, empty space is but a thread leaving nothing unconnected. There is nowhere that Vairocana Buddha is not present equally. Through contemplation, seek Amitabha of the Western Shore. Homage to the great teaching master, Lord of the Western Shore, the Buddha, the Tathagata of infinite light. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. The land of ultimate bliss has 10 kinds of adornment. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. It is adorned with Dharmakara's vow, his cultivation cause. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with the power of Amitabha's 48 vows. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with Amitabha's name and the brilliance of his life force. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with the bejeweled images observed by the three Mahasattvas. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with the peaceful bliss of Amitabha's Western world. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with bejeweled rivers running with pure and meritorious waters. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with bejeweled basilicas with halls of wish-fulfilling jewels. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with lengthy days and nights. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with the Pure Land's 24 kinds of pleasures. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with the 30 kinds of beneficial merit. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Amitabha Buddha, who is unparalleled in heaven or on earth. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. He has seen the annihilation of self in everything in the world. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. There is no one who is like Amitabha Buddha. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. He can keep track of thoughts as numerous as all the dust motes in the universe. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. He can quaff all the waters in the universe. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. He can control the wind that fills space. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. No one can completely describe that Buddha's merits. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Amitabha Buddha is omnipresent. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Keep your thoughts on him and never forget. As thoughts probe that place of no thought, the 6 sense gates will constantly emanate light of purple and gold. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Amitabha's face, like the full moon, is at the front of the hall of ultimate bliss. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. His jade excrescence and his gold form radiate through space. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. If a person call his name for only a moment, they will instantly consummate immeasurable merit. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Along with all sentient beings, I vow together to enter the sea of Amitabha's great vows and to ferry across sentient beings so that I and others may simultaneously complete the path to Buddhahood. The sublime mantra of the original mind of Amitabha Buddha. Anyata Om Aritara Savaha. 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 Anyata Om Aritara Savaha.
At this time, I'd like to ask our incense lighters to please come up. Inside of your books, there is a paper that is titled The Incense Offering, and we will be chanting that together. And together we say, in gratitude, we offer this incense throughout space and time to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May it be fragrant as earth herself, reflecting careful efforts, wholehearted awareness, and the fruit of understanding slowly ripening. May we and all beings be companions of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May we awaken from forgetfulness and realize our true home. And we bow. Good morning, everyone. It's good to see you all. Thank you for being here and sharing your Sunday with us at the temple. A few announcements. Families with small children, you're welcome to use the downstairs area. There's cups and water fountain, anything you might need. Help yourself. If you find that there's a need for seats, which I don't think there is today, so I think we're all right here on that front. But if you do in the future when you're coming to temple, we like to squish together so we can make room for families to sit together. As a reminder, we ask that you don't walk across the front, but if you need to use the restroom or grab water or something, that you use the back of the hall, and that's to preserve the viewing for the front of the dais and the camera. When we are chanting, so this morning when we chant that Heart Sutra, breathe some life into it. I want to hear you bring that into your body and into your mind, right? So we're going to do that together. So to start service today, we're going to stand up and we're going to silently greet one another. And let's go ahead and stay standing in your chant book. We are going to be reciting the 3 refuges, which is on page 7. I go for refuge to Buddha, my deeply awakened mind, the living source of understanding and compassion, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to Dharma, the path of mindful living, leading to healing, joy, and enlightenment, the way of peace, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to Sangha, the loving and supportive community of practice, realizing harmony, awareness, and liberation, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I am aware that the 3 jewels are within my heart. I vow to realize them. I vow to understand living beings and their suffering. I vow to cultivate loving kindness and compassion, and to practice joy and equanimity. I vow to live simply and sanely, content with few possessions, and to keep my body healthy. I vow to let go of all worry and anxiety in order to be light and free. I am aware that I owe so much to my parents, teachers, friends, and all beings. I vow to be worthy of their trust, to practice wholeheartedly, so that understanding and compassion will flower, and I can help living beings be free from their suffering. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma,
and the sanghas support my efforts.
Breathe out. Flipping over to the next page, we're going to be chanting the Heart Sutra.
Prajna Paramita Hridaya Sutra the Bodhisattva of great compassion from the deep practice of Prajna Paramita perceived the emptiness of all five skandhas and delivered all beings from their suffering. O Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form. Form is emptiness, emptiness form. The same is true of feeling, thought, impulse, and consciousness. O Shariputra, all dharmas are empty. They are not born nor annihilated. They are not defiled nor immaculate. They do not increase nor decrease. So in emptiness, no form, no feeling, no thought, no impulse, no consciousness. No eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. No form, sound, smell, taste, touch, or objects of mind. No realm of sight. No realm of consciousness. No ignorance, nor extinction of ignorance. No old age and death, nor extinction of them. No suffering, no cause of suffering. No cease from suffering. No path to lead out of suffering. No knowledge, no attainment, no realization, for there is nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva holds on to nothing but Prajna Paramita. Therefore the mind is clear of any delusive hindrance. Without hindrance there is no fear. Away from all perverted views, one reaches final nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future, through faith in Prajna Paramita, attain to the highest perfect enlightenment. Know then the Prajna Paramita is the great Dharani, the radiant fearless mantram, the utmost supreme mantram, which is capable of allaying all pain. This is true beyond all doubt. Proclaim now the highest wisdom, the Prajna Paramita. Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhisattva. Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhisattva. Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhisattva. Dharma Prajna Paramita Hridaya Sutra.
Go ahead and take a seat. Good morning, everyone. My name is Igye. It's good to see you all this morning. I am going to be talking about the Heart Sutra, the one we just chanted. Now, there are thousands of different talks that can be done on this, and one that is done in a mere 20 minutes, 25 minutes maybe, will not cover even 1% of the depth of this sutra. So I will do my best to honor it in the ways I can and provide you with hopefully some kind of insight. So I want to start with the history or the historical background of the sutra itself, right? Because I don't often, we want to just get to the meat of the sutra. And I found, for me anyways, it was helpful to understand where it came from. So the earliest recorded appearance of this sutra comes in the form of a Chinese translation by a monk named Chichen, somewhere between 200 and 250 AD. Now his teacher was a monk named Chi Lu Chia Chan, or Lokakshima, and he was noted to have done translating work on some of the earliest known scriptures from Pali, Sanskrit, into Chinese. And that does include the Perfection of Wisdom in 8,000 lines, and that's part of the collection of Prajnaparamita sutras. So his work really did help lay the foundation for Mahayana Buddhism in China. So Chichen, who is also known for the first translation of the Vimalakirti Sutra and the Infinite Life Sutra, again into Chinese. And the Infinite Life Sutra is an important sutra in Pure Land Buddhism, in the practice of Pure Land Buddhism. Now, the teachings on the greater Prajnaparamita Sutras are said to have originated in southern India, somewhere around the 1st or 2nd century BCE, right? Whereas the Heart Sutra was most likely composed during the 1st century AD, further north in the Kushan-controlled territories. Now, we can attribute this to 2 places. So number 1, we have King Ashoka. Now, King Ashoka was very well known for having one of the largest empires over India and parts of the Middle East in history. He reigned over a mass amount of territory. And in his reign, he became a devout Buddhist. And the sect of the Sarvastivadin monks, which is one of the earliest recorded schools of Buddhism, it became popularized during his reign. Now, this school did develop out of the Second Buddhist Council that took place in a place called Vaishali, which is modern-day Bihar in India. And this council took place approximately 100 years after the Buddha's parinirvana, or when his physical body passed away, right? Now, the Kushan Empire had a massive spread of networks and roads, right? So it was likely that King Ashoka had sent some Sarvastivadin monks to Gandhara, which is the present-day region, or present-day northwest Pakistan, and includes parts of southeast Afghanistan. Now, cities in this part of India were at the center of a huge network of transcontinental trade routes, right? And some of them were among the richest in the subcontinent. Therefore, it isn't surprising that the Sarvastivadins became the Buddhist sect in this region. Now, Sarvastivadins, their tradition is known as the Abhidharma tradition, and this is important to the text itself as you're reading through it. In Sanskrit, Abhi means making manifest, and Dharma in this particular usage means what can be known or cognized, or simply what there is. You can think of the Abhidharma as the highest teachings of the Dharma. Now, they argued, as part of their practice, that dharmas exist in 3 times: past, present, and future. And if you're looking at the Heart Sutra that we just chanted, you'll see right there All Buddhas of past, present, and future, through faith in Prajnaparamita, attain to the highest perfect enlightenment. So this came as a means of organizing how to present the Buddhist teachings to the Sarvastivada school, right? So the Heart Sutra was organized as a means of a collection of the Buddhist teachings to continue to, so it's like a quick reference. Think of it like a quick reference to all of the Buddhist teachings, right? Well, and I wouldn't say all, but a good amount of them, the important ones, although that's another concept in itself, right? Now, I'd like to read this quote from Red Pine. The way the Heart Sutra is organized, the teachings are an apparent response to the way that the Sarvastivadins taught. It was likely written by a Sarvastivadin monk in the Kushan region that the Heart Sutra upon realizing the limitations of the Sarvastivadin Abhidharma. Okay. Now, that's a quick history. You could dig into it a little bit more if you feel inclined to. So the essence of the teachings. Again, I'll do my best here. So the first question I'd like you to ask is, who are you? Who are you? Are you your name? Are you your body? Are you your feelings? Are you your thoughts? Right? So we're often asked this question in our practice. And that's because the Buddha gave us this psychological approach to understanding how we habitually experience the world. So this is called the 5 skandhas, or the 5 aggregates of clinging. So I like to think of this as the 5 layers of becoming a self. So who are you? First, you have form. So this is like your physical body, your meat suit, the thing that gets you from place to place, right? This seemingly you resides in this body, right? You've named it, and you've identified this physical form with that name, right? Apart from being a Gesu, I'm also Z. I was born Elizabeth Ann Brennan, right? So lots of names and identities are attached to this meat suit, this face, this DNA. But is this really what makes you you? If you changed your name, or maybe you lost a toe, would you still be you? Now, when I say you, I'm referring to an impermanent, intrinsic, everlasting you, something that will be here forever. So then we have feelings and sensations, and this is how we feel towards the things that we experience. Pleasant, unpleasant, neutral, right? When we have thoughts, ideas, or concepts about the world and everything in it, it is usually in regards to those feelings, right? I thought of getting a tattoo, right? It's a painful feeling, but people do it anyways, right? They get joy out of it. So even though it's physically painful, it brings pleasure, right? So again, thoughts, concepts, ideas, and that tattoo you probably got has some kind of meaning to it, doesn't it? Right? If you have tattoos like me anyways. So as we build these concepts, ideas, right? This is how we are convinced of our reality and our initial attempts to make that self permanent, right? So we're making ourselves more real, more tangible, right? Our ideas are really sticking, and there's a me here, right? Now, based on all of these ideas and concepts, we have this desire to act on them, right? There's an impulse to make decisions. So these are the things we identify with. Now, when all of these layers work together, we have this sense of self-awareness or consciousness, right? This is who I am. This is the identity I carry with me. I hold on to it, right? I go everywhere with it. It's like a security blanket. It comes with me. So we have form, feeling, thought, impulse, and consciousness. So with that, I'd like to dive into the sutra a little bit more and why this is a central part of our temple and many other temples around the world. Here at the Grand Rapids Buddhist Temple, the Heart Sutra is the first sutra any new to Buddhism Sangha member experiences. When I began attending services regularly, I would look forward to chanting this, even though I didn't really grasp, and to some degree still don't, the depth of its significance. It's important to remember that the Heart Sutra is one of the perfection of wisdom texts, or the Prajnaparamita Sutras. And it contains everything you need to know to train your mind, to break free from samsara, and to help other people do the same. So going back to the Sarvastivadin monks, you can think of the Heart Sutra as a condensed manual for the Abhidharma, right? So this Abhidharma, this manifesting true reality, it's a manual for practice that can help us realize enlightenment and emptiness. So as a Sangha, when we practice this together, that's our wish for each other, right? That's why we have each other. It's our wish for each other and all beings to realize emptiness and to wake up. When you wake up, it benefits me, it benefits others, and it benefits ourselves, right? So I'd like to start with a koan, or maybe I'm not really starting anyways. I think I'm past that. But I'd like to give you a koan. And this is called a cup of tea, and some of you might be familiar with it. Nanen, a Japanese Zen master, received a university professor who came to inquire about Zen. Nanen served tea. He poured his visitor's cup full and then kept on pouring. The professor watched the tea overflow until he could no longer restrain himself. "Teacher, it's overflowing. Stop pouring. No more will go in." And Nanen said, "Like this cup, you are full of your own opinions and speculations. How can I show you Zen unless you first empty your cup?" So this koan examines learning, unlearning, and relearning. And in our own practice, we are encouraged to be aware and alert, to free ourselves from that rigid black and white, that good, bad, that like and dislike, right? Heaven, earth. The idea of the cup overflowing reminds us to let go of things so that we can make space for new things and experiences to flow into our lives. Now, there's a bit of a paradox with this koan as well. It lies in recognizing that the reality is that it's nearly impossible to forget what we've already learned, right? To some capacity, you will always retain what you've learned, like in your subconscious mind or in our muscle memory. So I'm an Irish dancing teacher, and traditionally, when you become an Irish dancing teacher, you have to know these seven traditional set dances, and these dances have been passed down for hundreds of years for us to maintain our culture, right? Sorry, I just realized that. So one of the dances is called St. Patrick's Day, appropriately, right? And I can dance it in my sleep. I can dance it while having a full-blown conversation about Buddhism. I can dance it in my head right now while talking to you all. My feet could do it without me telling it to do it, right? So it's things like that. That is something I'm never going to be able to unlearn, even if I wanted to. And I've heard the song a million times, right? Imagine having a polka stuck in your head for the rest of your life. That is what St. Patrick's Day is like for me, right? At one point, I remember my partner saying, like, or a past partner saying to me, like, when I was studying for my exams, he said, "Do you realize you're dancing in your sleep?" And I said, "No." He's like, "Your feet keep going like this." It woke me up in the middle of the night. I'm like, well, I guess I'm dancing there too, right? So we can't really forget what we've learned, right? But when you pour out what you've learned from the cup of your mind, you're actually letting go of the attachment to your ego, right? To your learning and memory. This challenges us to release these conceptual views and opinions and expectations, right? So we're being asked to really examine our mind. Look closer. What do you see, right? So the Heart Sutra opens with Avalokiteshvara, who is the Bodhisattva of great compassion, talking with Shariputra, one of the Buddha's most accomplished disciples. And he's explaining these teachings on emptiness. Now, we like to remind practitioners that emptiness here doesn't mean non-existent, right? It doesn't mean that it doesn't exist, okay? But rather it's empty of a permanent, everlasting nature. Just as a room can be empty of furniture, the mind and body are empty of a permanent self and anything that belongs to that self. So all dharmas are empty. Emptiness is like thinking outside the box, right? It is seeing beyond the limits of dualistic thought and allowing you to sit in that vulnerability of the gray area, which can be scary sometimes. So I'd like to share a couple of quotes on emptiness. Emptiness means that things do not exist as they seem, but are like illusions and like dreams. They do not have a nature or a findable core of their own. Emptiness or voidness is an expression used in Buddhist thoughts primarily to mark a distinction between the way things appear to be and the way they actually are, together with attendant attitudes which are held to be beneficial. And then we have negation as emptiness. The location of the basis of negation is the 5 aggregates. And what is being negated? It is devoid of true, findable existence. And that last quote is a quote from the Essence of the Heart Sutra by the Dalai Lama. So who are you really? What are you holding on to? What kind of dualism are you unknowingly injecting into your life that is preventing you from seeing through the illusion? What might you be attempting to fill your emptiness with? What are you filling your cup with? Do you ever experience your ego mind trying to create this dualistic perspective? Maybe you've observed it sometimes, right? I know being in a car on the freeway is a great place to experience it, at least for me. And sometimes when we're in that, sometimes we feel that, we hear that judgment mind like getting louder and louder, and we give into it and react, right? So recently I went to the zoo with my toddler. And I know you've all immediately gone, oh, this is going to be an interesting story. Toddler, zoo, right? Now you've ever seen that one mom that's going the opposite direction than everybody else with that screaming and kicking toddler? That was me. That was me 2 weeks ago on a Friday. And that was a great opportunity to practice. A really, really good opportunity to practice. Here I'm saying, it's great that my toddler was kicking and screaming. It's awesome. That's how everybody wants to go to the zoo, right? Now, of course, my mind wanted to really engage in that ego. It wanted to say, wanted to take my, daughter and have that conversation and really get angry and hold on to that anger and, pursue that path of making myself permanent. And I took the opportunity to, as Shanti Deva puts it, remain like a log, right? To just observe what I was feeling, observe the thoughts, observe the impulse, right? Rather than engaging with it. So while even though there were things that were out of my control, my toddler's colorful display of contempt for not allowing her to run wherever she wanted to go. And instead I looked at what I could control, and that was my reactions and my mind, right? So it is incredibly, incredibly tempting to attach to the storyline. What's the story that we're telling ourselves? What is what is the ego trying to get us to attach to, right? It's attempting to maintain control. And it does this as a means of self-preservation. It doesn't come from nowhere, right? It's not like, these things come up and it's like, why am I acting this way? It comes as a learned habitual response over time, right? It's the way that we're brought up. And to some sense, it's even in our DNA. It's a means of self-preservation, okay? And it really wants to hold on to that idea of me, my feelings, my thoughts, my action, right? All of these things that pursue a story as an attempt to make this illusion permanent. Now, our ego is a line of defense that wants to keep us from realizing our true nature. But, and I guess what I should say from that is it wants us to react habitually, and it wants me to believe the story that my toddler is doing this to spite me, you know? She's doing it because she doesn't like me. She wants to fight against me. Or maybe it's the story of, you know, I can't believe, you know, all these other people at the zoo probably are thinking what a bad mom I am because I can't keep control of my kid, right? A lot of different perspectives there for where our mind can go. And it wants me to believe that story. It really wants me to get angry. It wants me to get frustrated, and it wants me to react. But behind this is a deep fear of no longer being the center of attention, that ego saying, me, right? It wants to be cared for. It needs that compassion. So while our mind is mitigating these pros and cons and encouraging us to get wrapped up in this story, we're weaving ourselves. Our left brain is always trying to make sense of the world and our place in it, right? But what our ego fails to realize is that it can be of service to us in cultivating our courage and confidence in realizing our Buddha nature. So we can use this ego mind, this drive, this energy, this, you know, force that's really asking us these questions, and direct that in a new place, right? Let's use that as confidence in our practice. Let's use that as a means of learning the sutras and working on realizing the knowledge that is inside of those sutras, that wisdom. We aren't seeking to get rid of the ego by any means. This isn't a, you know, ego bad, you know, Buddha nature good thing. Again, that's just dualism. Okay. If we did that, if we were trying to eradicate our ego, it would render us either helpless or psychotic, right? So let's use that ego as a way to wake up from the dream, to wake up from the illusion. We need that ego to navigate the world and to regulate our instincts, to exercise our executive functions, and to meditate on the conflicting demands of self and others, right? Now, here's a quote from a Lion's Roar article. This sutra goes right for the heart of the matter while mercilessly attacking all ego trips that prevent us from waking up to our true nature. So how do we realize Buddha nature? Isn't that the $24 million question? That's why we're here. Follow the Heart Sutra. Look at the Heart Sutra. You might come in and chant it every Sunday, and that's the opportunity you have to think about it. And it's good that you do have that one opportunity a week, if that's all you take. But I really encourage you to look deeper at it. Bring it into your practice at home, right? If you don't already have it in your practice at home. By learning to let go of our attachment to the 5 skandhas that make up this perceived permanent self, right? That's how we work on engaging our emptiness, our letting go, our release, right? So we see the eye, our eye sees, it has eye consciousness, we have sight, right? And those things, those concepts come in through our eye, right? And our brain chews on it, creates a good, bad, okay, and continues to act on those as appropriately, right? So how can we, rather than continuing to bring it in, observe it for what it is, okay? Like my toddler, right? She's doing this to make me angry. I must be such a horrible parent. So instead of shifting, I want to shift my thought pattern, my habitual reaction from that to the reality of things. Child screaming. She might be having a good time. She's likely having a good time, right? She's running. She's engaging in her need to get her energy out, right? And she's having a good time while doing it. None of this has anything to do with me or what I think or how I feel, right? But as a parent, I still have to engage that ego because I have to keep her safe. She doesn't know any better. So what are the things that I can do to really walk that fine line? It's like walking a tightrope as a parent sometimes, right? Walk that fine line of guiding her without hurting other people, right? Her running she could run into another kid, knock them down, get them hurt. She could get run over by a stroller because, those zoo pathways are very, very narrow, right? So things can happen that might not come of beneficial result for her or other people. So as a parent, we're walking that fine line of where do I stop her behavior, but also not following that line of ego thought, that line of, oh, woe is me, right? And when I do that, that is the opportunity to glimpse emptiness, okay? Emptiness of an inherent self. Now, I'm not necessarily living in emptiness. I am not a trained master of emptiness, but I'm practicing it, right? I think that's why we all come to temple on Sundays and have come to Buddhism as a means of practice, to remain humble to the fact that we don't know it all. That's why we're here. If we did, we'd all be Buddhists, right? Away from all perverted views, one reaches final nirvana. In order to get to the other shore, we must be mindful of the delusive hindrances that are keeping us invested in the illusion. Now, ignorance, old age, death are a crucial part of the Buddhist teachings on suffering, right? And in the Heart Sutra, we're told no ignorance, old age, and death. Okay, all right. Four Noble Truths teach suffering, cause of suffering, cease from suffering, the path to lead out of suffering. And in the Heart Sutra, it says, no. No suffering, no cause of suffering, no cease from suffering, no path to lead out of suffering. So which is it? Which is it? But are these not also concepts to attach to? I think of the Heart Sutra as the biggest inside joke for Buddhists. Everything we are instructed on in our Buddhist training and studies are denied in this text. Everything is negated, okay? And that is where the rub lies. It is done with a straightforwardness, pushing those to study it to the edge of the conceptual mind. So remember those paradoxes that were pointed out in the cup of tea koan? Like this cup, Nanan said, you are full of your own opinions and speculations. How can I show you Zen unless you first empty your cup? Don't believe everything you think you know. So in practice, this sutra is intended to alleviate our suffering. By using the teachings that were organized by the Sarvastivadins, we can work on loosening our grip to this deluded reality we've been living in since beginningless time. This Heart Sutra is instructions on how to break free from the bonds of samsara and get to the other shore. It's a guide for seeing who you really are once you can get past the illusion of the skandhas, right? So I encourage you to be the chicken that crosses the road. And then I want you to realize there was no road to begin with. Gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhisvaha. Go beyond. Go totally beyond and be rooted in the ground of enlightenment. So we can interpret this to mean crossover. Abandon the shore of samsara, this existence of suffering. Go to the other shore of nirvana, of complete enlightenment. It's encouragement for us, right? That one mantra at the end, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhisvaha. That is a great thing to chant when you're at the zoo with a toddler, okay? Great thing to chant. Come back to that moment of how can I get to the other shore rather than engage in that habitual need for anger, or I shouldn't say need, I really should say want, right? That desire to fulfill my own cravings, okay? Here is a quote from Red Pine. A mantra is like a magic lamp, which itself is often cast in the shape of a womb. Oh, yeah. But instead of bringing forth a genie, as other mantras are intended to do, This mantra draws us inside, where we become the genie. Chanting this mantra thus creates the womb from which we are all reborn as Buddhas. So I hope this very short investigation helps you to better understand, if even just a tiny bit, why the Heart Sutra is our temple's foundational sutra, and the role that it has played and continues to play in so many Buddhist practitioners' lives. And while we really could dig into so many aspects of this sutra, we could. I mean, this thing is full. Talk about information overload. For lay practitioners, it's really important to remember that this sutra is really all we need to wake up. The Buddha reminds us to investigate everything. Does it work for you? Okay. And as a Sangha, let's do it together, right? So I would like to chant the Heart Sutra one more time. Okay, we're just going to stay seated and just have an opportunity to reflect on this sutra a little bit. And then we'll talk a little bit about the meditation. The Maha Prajna Paramita Hridaya Sutra. The Bodhisattva of great compassion from the deep practice of Prajna Paramita perceived the emptiness of all five skandhas and delivered all beings from their suffering. O Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form, form is emptiness, emptiness form. The same is true of feeling, thought, impulse, and consciousness. O Shariputra, all dharmas are empty. They are not born nor annihilated. They are not defiled nor immaculate. They do not increase nor decrease. So in emptiness, no form, no feeling, no thought, no impulse, no consciousness. No eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, no form, sound, smell, taste, touch, or objects of mind, no realm of sight, no realm of consciousness, no ignorance, nor extinction of ignorance, no old age and death, nor extinction of them, no suffering, no cause of suffering, no cease from suffering, no path to lead out of suffering, no knowledge, no attainment, no realization, for there is nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva holds on to nothing but Prajna Paramita. Therefore, the mind is clear of any delusive hindrance. Without hindrance, there is no fear. Away from all perverted views, one reaches final nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future, through faith in Prajna Paramita, attain to the highest perfect enlightenment. Know then the Prajna Paramita is the great Dharani, the radiant peerless mantram, the utmost supreme mantram, which is capable of allaying all pain. This is true beyond all doubt. Proclaim now the highest wisdom, the Prajna Paramita. Gate, gate, para, gate, para samgate, Bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, para, gate, parasamgate, Bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, para, gate, parasamgate, Bodhisvaha. The Maha Prajna Paramita Hridaya Sutra. And we bow. So we're going to do a quick little meditation here. And I'd like to encourage give you a little bit of guidance here in this. So in the Heart Sutra, when we are repeatedly or saying the word no as an encouragement to investigate the self and the concepts to which we attach to, right? We can even say that the Heart Sutra is an invitation to let go and relax. We can replace all those words in the sutra, or we replace all the sutra, we can replace all the words in the sutra that go with no, such as no eye, no ear, with all of our problems, such as no depression, no fear, no unemployment, no war, and so on. Now that might sound simplistic, but if we do that and actually make it into a contemplation on what all those things, depression, fear, war, and economic crisis actually are, it can become pretty powerful. So prepare yourself for meditation. And we bow. So I wanted to say thank you all for giving me the opportunity to talk to you about the Heart Sutra. We could probably spend a month, if not longer, your entire life, depending on, I guess, how much time you have to give to studying this sutra, and then the rest of your life living it. So a couple other thank yous before we get on to our, closing things. I want to thank Gaji Su for the beautiful morning chant. It was wonderful this morning. I also want to thank our tech crew who's making this possible online for all the viewers out there. And I want to thank you all for giving me the opportunity to give this talk. So we'd like to go into joys and concerns. So this is an opportunity for you to share any joys, concerns that are going on in your life with the Sangha, so we can be with you in your moment of celebration or your moments of need.
So we have one from Zoom. So Jordan on Zoom says, although I don't get the presence of the beautiful temple and its people, it's kind of cool that I can listen to the Dharma talks while doing housework and cooking breakfast. And he also adds, also today's talk was much needed as a father of four.
My joy is Shuji is with us today. Shuji used to be at the temple. She moved to Manhattan, Kansas. She is a Soto Zen priest, and my heart is full of joy that you're here today.
That this place has helped me get through the school year because there has been a lot of tough times recently. So yeah, thanks to this place.
I have a joy. It might not come out as smoothly as it did in my head, but in December and January, I discovered I had cancer, and that led me here. And extremely complicated, long story short, it's changed me very abruptly. In 2 weeks, I'm going to Nepal to discover myself and Buddhism and go to the birthplace of Buddha and sort some things out. So thank you for being here, and I'm terrified and excited and confused, and I don't know who I'll be when I get back. But I think I'll be able to say that cancer was the best thing that happened to me. Thanks.
So my mom got new chicks and we're taking care of them.
I have a joy myself. My name is Shane or Gajisu. Start a new job tomorrow. I should start a new job. It's kind of, there might be a concern where a background check hasn't came through, but I have nothing. I have got nothing on my record, so I'm not worried about that. But so we'll see. It's kind of up in the air.
All right. And with that, we're going to hold a moment of silence for the joys and concerns. So I'll go through quick announcements here, and then I think there's a couple other temple announcements that need to happen. April events, there was the board meeting last weekend, but the upcoming board meeting for May will be the third Sunday from 11:30 to 1, and it meets at the temple. We have Buddhist Space Recovering meetings, Mondays at the temple or join via Zoom, Wednesdays at the Alano Club, Fridays at the temple or join via Zoom. On Wednesdays, we have a online meditation group, and it's every Wednesday right now through April. And I believe we're going to continue that on into May from 7:30 to 8:15, and it's online. There are links on the website and in the newsletter. But if you'd like some more information, contact Reverend Kunganima. Next weekend, we have our silent retreat, which means that we will have a guest speaker here. Really looking forward to watching that talk when I get back from retreat. And I think registration's all sorted for that. So that's pretty much just a done thing for now, right? We have a spring cleanup coming up in May, Saturday, May 6th from 9 to 1 p.m. Help us spruce up the area, picking up trash in the parking lot, up at the front, and feel free to join for the entire day or just come for an hour, half hour. Come, maybe you want to bring some lemonade for all the people who are working. But we're also going to be doing the windows, washing the windows. So bring your gloves and any other cleaning supplies. Like, I think, what are some other supplies we're going to need? Like, really none? Okay. I mean, like, I don't know if it was like yard supplies, like trimmers or. Okay. That kind of stuff. Brooms, shovels, clippers for those online. And then we have a potluck for Buddha's birthday celebration. And that is on Sunday, May 7th. It's going to be at 11 a.m. right after service in the community room downstairs. Bring a dish to share and just note all of its ingredients for those with food preferences, allergies, or sensitivities. We do have folks here who have celiacs, so gluten-free items are suggested, as well as other allergies. Donations are welcome. So I'm going to hand it over to any other announcements that need to be made at this time.
All right. If you would like to visit more with Shuji and I and Kajisu are going to Meyer Gardens after temple today, and we will meet at the cafe somewhere whenever we get done talking here. We'll go for lunch and then go around and probably end up in the Zen garden. If you haven't been there, it's awesome.
Any other announcements? Do we have a Donna announcement today?
Good day. My name is Ellen. Donna is part of the generosity part of our practice. And of course, we're always open to money. And we have Donna boxes in the front and at the rear of the temple. They have a QR code. If you want to scan that, it will take you directly to PayPal. Also, besides monetary donation, donation of your time, donation of materials. You can always use toilet paper and paper towels and tea, anything else you'd like to donate. We're here for it. So I don't think I forgot anything.
No, you're good.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Jan Ensing. I'm the board president. I serve on the board as the president. And I want to make an announcement. We have a special day in that the Grand Rapids Buddhist Temple Board of Directors presents to the Sangha Kent Robbins to serve as a director. And Kent is also serving as a tech person as well. Kent, can you raise your hand? Many of you may have seen it online. According to the bylaws, the board will appoint Kent Robbins to serve another term of 3 years following approval by the Sangha. All of you present are considered Sangha members. For those who already voted online, please do not vote again. For those present today who have not already voted online, please cast your vote on the table at the back entrance. You'll see a bowl of white stones and then 2 bowls, one marked yes and one marked no. The vote closes after today's service, so please vote. And for those of you online, the vote is a link through the newsletter. And if you don't have access to the newsletter but want to put it in the chat, we will count that as a vote too. That would be fine. So thank you very much for your consideration.
I think that's it for announcements. Other than if you'd like to help with the tech team, let us know. Get in touch with Kunga. Okay, we'd love to have more volunteers for the tech team. Doesn't require a whole lot of technical skills, just be able to use a computer and a mouse and know which buttons to click when, right? So with that, we're going to end with our closing gathas. So please stand. And together we say,
For all unskillful actions ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thoughts, now I atone to them all. Vast is the robe of compassion, a formless field of benefaction. I read the Buddhist teachings for the benefit of all sentient beings. All beings, one body, I vow to liberate. Endless blind passion, I vow to uproot. Dharma gates without number, I vow to penetrate. The great way of Buddha, I vow to attain.
now at this side, we'll turn to this side. And one closing bow. As you make your way out today, or hopefully stick around for tea, there's tea downstairs. There's also some little heart-shaped chocolates in reference to the Heart Sutra today. Keep that with you for your week. And if you can't arrange your cushions, fluff up your cushions and then make sure the mats are arranged so at least somewhat Zen-like. Right? I hope you all have a wonderful day.